Hello there, my name is Thomas Regan and I'm a professional property investor here in Australia. Now, I'm doing a series on why I think apartments are fantastic investments, and that I don't love apartments because they're apartments. I don't love them for that. I just love them because they fall into the principal foundations of what I consider good investment principles: cash flow, capital growth potential, and below replacement cost. There's a few others, but I won't get into that now. What I wanted to talk about in relation to apartments today as an investment strategy is how does the cash flow apply? How does cash flow work? And what is the importance of cash flow when it comes to investing, period? Right? So let's give you a situation here and say you're working a full-time job and you ultimately want to get to financial freedom through investing. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to allocate your funds, some of your money, to purchase an investment property. And let's say you make $2,000 a week or something like $100,000 a year, whatever, $2,000 a week, and it costs you about $1,000 to live off. So you're making like half of your income, you're able to save it, whatever. And let's say you save up for a year and you end up with $50 to $1,000. Okay, what you can do with that is obviously buy a property. Now, what's going to happen if you buy one property and the cash flow on that property is negative by $100 a week? Well, theoretically, you could do it, right? You could buy a property that's $100 negative cash flow a week. But in theory, if your income never increases, what's going to happen is you're going to tap out. You're going to not be able to continually scale your property portfolio from a cash flow perspective, right? Because you can only get to 10 properties that are $100 a week negative before you have no more money to support the negative cash flow on your property portfolio. I hope now, typically this happens if you're looking at houses, right? Because they're negative cash flow. And I'm not saying there's not houses out there that aren't negative cash flow. You can definitely find a house that is positive cash flow or neutral cash flow, but it is much harder. Now, if you are finding any investment that has capital growth potential below replacement cost and has good cash flow, I would pull the trigger on that. House, no house, whatever it is, don't care. Now, that's how strict I am with investment principles, right? But back to the example. So person's making $2,000 a week. The maximum properties they can purchase from a scaling perspective is 10, and then at $100 negative cash flow per week. Then they can no longer afford anymore and they're out, right? Now let's flip this and go, what if that person was buying properties that were neutral cash flow? So they would have the $2,000 a week that they're making, and then $1,000 on top that they're saving because they're good at saving, and they're constantly using that $1,000 a week every year to buy a new property, and each time they buy a new property, it's neutral cash flow. Well, then theoretically, their scaling potential is unlimited from that perspective. Now, when you're thinking through investment principles, that's what you have to understand about and apply when it comes to growing a large property portfolio to the point where you are able to say or be a professional investor and live off your investments and so on and so forth. Hopefully that was helpful. See you guys next time. Bye.